It's the 3 on PLAX TV.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy PLAX, and I am back with another episode of The 3 on PLAX TV. And in this episode, I am talking about the 2024 WNBA draft. I know it's a little bit early. I believe the draft is in like April, May-ish, around right before the summertime. And I'm going to jump around a little bit because I don't know all of the top 12 players that are supposed to be drafted this year or next year. Well, it's this year. I'm recording this. It's still 2023, but it'll be 2024 when it comes out. But yeah, I don't know all of the players, but I do know a decent chunk. I'd say about 6 of them. So I'm just going to go through those players and just explain how they can impact the team, how I think they'll be in the WNBA, and just where they fall in the mock draft, basically. So first, I'm going to start with pick 8, which is the Atlanta Dream, and they are projected to pick Angel Reese at number 8. Now, I think Angel Reese being dropping to 8 is a little too low for her. I feel like she's way better than that. I feel like she's a top 3 to top 5 pick 9 times out of 10. But, I think it's just because of, how she started this season that dropped her stock down. And I also think it's kind of based on what teams need as well. Reese is a very back to the basket heavy traditional big, and maybe teams aren't necessarily looking for that. But and then also besides how she just started the season with, the time away from the team and the issues with Kim Mulkey, I think that just brought her stock down a little bit. Now, if LSU is able to win the championship again, maybe her stock will go up and maybe she'll get picked earlier. But at the time of this recording, she is projected to go number 8 to the Atlanta Dream. Now, on the flip side to it, the Atlanta Dream, I don't believe they were a playoff team this year. They might have been, but if they were, they got knocked out in the first round or something like that. I feel like Atlanta and Angel Reese is a match made in heaven because just based on her personality, like I've said before, she reminds me a lot of the female Shaq. Like she just has a very big superstar personality, and she's also a very great player who's going to take the WNBA to great heights or help take the WNBA to great heights, whether it be on the court or off the court. I believe the issues that she's had this year with Kim Mulkey and the LSU team and grades and all that stuff, I think is just an isolated incident. I think it's something that she needed to go through to mature herself. And I think now she's locked in and ready to go. And I think going forward, she's just going to be better. She's going to be a pro, and she's going to really help the WNBA as a whole. Just by bringing more eyes to it, you know what I'm saying? Doing movies and doing photo shoots and music videos and all this stuff. Bringing more eyes to the WNBA like a Magic Johnson did, or like Shaq did, or even to a certain extent Michael Jordan in the sense of outside impact, Also just making basketball more interesting to little black girls, because a lot of times young black women aren't interested in basketball. They don't really give a fuck about basketball. It's not their forte. Some do, and predominantly the WNBA has a lot of black women in it, but it's always the athletes, right? I feel like Angel Reese can appeal to the girls that maybe aren't athletes right now, but maybe sparked to be interested in becoming an athlete because they see Angel Reese, they see what she's accomplishing, they see her attitude and who she is and who she's around, and that might pique their interest to hey, I'm pretty tall, I could play some basketball, you know what I'm saying? Like the average young black woman, as to, usually young black women don't really gravitate towards basketball unless they already play sports. And sometimes even if they already play sports, it's usually track and field or cheerleading or gymnastics. It's rare they go straight to basketball. So I feel like Angel Reese can bridge that gap a little bit because she appeals to the young black woman more than I would say like a Lisa Leslie. Lisa Leslie carries herself a different way. So I don't think all young black women can relate to her as much as they can relate to an Angel Reese. You see what I'm saying? Lisa Leslie is retired. I just used her as an example. But yeah, I think her in Atlanta is just a match made in heaven, not just for the Atlanta Dream and how they play. Obviously, they'll become a better team just from having her there. But I think just raising awareness about women's basketball in the city, I think that would be just a huge impact. I think anywhere Angel Reese goes, she's just going to help bring more eyes to the WNBA. But going to Atlanta, it just seems like a match made in heaven. I just feel like it's perfect. She's coming from Louisiana. She's staying down south. It's dope. It'll be dope. I'm excited to see that. Hopefully Angel gets picked a little sooner than that, but I don't mind seeing her in Atlanta. At number 5, I'm jumping around. I don't know all the players, but at number 5, the Dallas Wings are projected to select Aaliyah Williams, who while Paige Bueckers I've been talking about. Is it Bueckers or Bueckers? Somebody tell me in the comments down below because I've heard different things and I've said different things myself. Is it Bueckers? Is it Paige Bueckers or Paige Bueckers? I'll be talking about her more later on in the video, but the Dallas Wings are projected to pick Aaliyah Edwards, and she has been playing amazing basketball with Paige out since she's been out for those 2 seasons, and she's been playing even better with Paige in the lineup. Her, Paige, and Ozzie Fudd have been going crazy out there in UConn, and they have a real legitimate chance of winning it all. Like, a little side note, like it's UConn, LSU, South Carolina, and obviously Iowa because they have Caitlyn Clark, the current GOAT, I guess, the current college GOAT. But I think Aaliyah Edwards is just ready right now. Like, she's just a pro right now. She's a decent shooter. I believe, what is she averaging? She's averaging, I believe, 15 points, 6 rebounds a game, and she's shooting 56% from the field already. So I feel like she's ready to be thrown into the fire and be a pro and help teams win and change things around. I think she can really help the Wings improve as a basketball team. So last year, Dallas they had 3 picks in the top 12. They picked Maddie Siegrist from Villanova, who averaged 24 points and 9 rebounds a game in college. And at pick 5, they got Lou Lopez, who averaged 16 points and 4 rebounds a game from UConn. And then at pick 11, they got Abby Myers from Maryland, who was also a very good shooter, shooting 45% from the field. So last year, they got a good chunk of star-level players or potentially star-level players for the future. And then this year, they're going to get Aaliyah Edwards, who's ready to go right now. I feel like they're setting themselves up for at least like maybe a year or 2 from now being a real serious contender and being a real serious playoff team. And Aaliyah Edwards is just going to skyrocket you to that point. Because as I said multiple times, she's a pro right now. Not that none of the other ladies aren't, but I just don't see anything that she really needs to change or work on in comparison to some of the other girls. You know what I'm saying? Like, Aaliyah is just all, like, she plays defense. She rebounds. She can shoot. She can facilitate if need be. Like, she does it all, and she does it all very well. She's like a Swiss Army knife, so to speak. And I think that's just going to be great on top of what Dallas was able to acquire in last year's draft. So Dallas, I haven't really noticed until I just looked at it, but Dallas seemed to be doing a very good job drafting. And I think they're building themselves up to be a contender in the future. So keep an eye out on the Dallas Wings. At pick 4, I believe the Seattle Storm is picking 4th in the draft. And they are projected to get Camila Cardoso from South Carolina. And in my opinion, Camila Cardoso is the best big in the draft right now. She is currently averaging 15 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game. And South Carolina, at the time of this recording, is currently undefeated and personally probably my favorite to win it all this year. She kind of like Dawn Staley for some reason is able to unlock her bigs, like from Aja Wilson, who's a multiple time MVP at this point and a multiple time champion, to Aaliyah Edwards, who just won Rookie of the Year for Indiana, to who played solid and looked like a pro already, to Cardoso. I feel like Cardoso is going to be maybe not exactly as good as those two, because those two are like up here, but I feel like if they're up here, she'll be like right here, and that's very close. Like Cardoso, Camila really has a chance to be an all-star and an MVP level player. Her game reminds me of like Aja Wilson mixed with Jonquel Jones. I think she might be a little bit more defensive than Aja, which is crazy because Aja Wilson won Defensive Player of the Year, I believe, either last year or the year before. But I think she might be more defensive heavy than Aja and Aaliyah Boston. But maybe her offensive game might need a little bit more help. I haven't really seen her posting up much, and maybe she might need to do that a little bit more or work on that. But besides that, I think she's just wholeheartedly the best big in the draft because she's just dominant on both sides. Like when she gets the ball, she's not really a post player. She's just strong. Like she's just moving girls out of her fucking way. And sometimes that's all you need. But I do think she needs to work on her post game just a smidge. But I think her going to Seattle has a history of winning. Sue Bird just left, but I feel like she's still around. So I feel like learning under Sue Bird and just learning how to be a leader. And she'll probably, at that point, she'd be the best player on the team. I think Seattle is getting a catalyst for the future as well. So similar to the Wings, I feel like there'll be a little bit of a shift, so to speak. Because, Vegas is great. The Liberty are great, but super teams usually don't stay together too long. So we'll see what happens with that. But shout out to Seattle. I hope they get her because they just got to steal, basically. She's dominating right now. Now, at pick 3, the Phoenix Mercury are projected to get Paige, Bueckers, or Bueckers. I don't know which one it is, but they're predicted to get Paige. And some of y'all may or may not know, I've been following Paige's game since she was in high school. Like, I seen her Ball is Life documentary and her Hoops mixtapes and all this stuff, and I was like, this was before I knew who Caitlyn Clark was and all this stuff. I was like, this girl is the best player in the world. She battled a lot of injuries during her college career. This is the first year I think that she's been able to. No, this is the second year. Her freshman year she was able to play, and they got knocked out in the tournament. She was hurt for 2 years, and now in her senior year she's able to play, and she's proven who she is. You know what I'm saying? And I think her battling with the injuries and stuff like that threw her off a bit, but she's come back in full stride. And I think that's just a testament to who she is as a player, who she is just as a person. But Paige going to Phoenix is kind of like a passing the torch situation because Diana Taurasi, I don't know if she's retiring this year or not. She doesn't need to because she's still cooking. But regardless, Diana Taurasi, whether she leaves or stays, her and Paige just being together and working on stuff together is, like I said with Aaliyah. Like I said with Angel Reese in Atlanta, it's a match made in heaven because DT and Paige have very similar games and very similar personalities. So I think you're just. It's like you getting a re-up, basically, on Diana Taurasi, which is crazy. Because Diana Taurasi, in my opinion, is a WNBA GOAT. So throwing Paige in there, somebody that's basically her doppelganger, is putting you in a position to win 3 or 4 more championships over the next 20 years. Now, hopefully, Paige, she, like I said, she's been battling with injuries. It's early. Hopefully those injuries don't persist, because that could be a problem. But DT, Paige, and Brittany Griner can win a championship right now. You know what I mean? Like DT, Brittany Griner, and Paige can really get something done on top of the supporting cast that they have. And then if DT decided to retire this year or next year, still being there and being a mentor for Paige is just amazing. And you're putting yourself in a position for success over the next 20 years again, barring if these injuries persist. But I'm a huge Paige Bueckers fan. I don't know which one it is, but I'm a huge fan of her, and I hope that she succeeds. I hope the injuries don't persist, and I hope she wins some championships, and I think she really can. She might even win the national championship this year. Who knows? At pick 2, the Los Angeles Sparks are projected to pick Cameron Brink, who is Steph Curry's goddaughter, by the way, which is awesome. But Cameron Brink, I'd say, is probably the best defensive big, like solely defensive big in the draft. She can shoot a little bit. She has a bit of a post game. She blocks shots at an elite level. Like, the way she blocks shots is almost scary. She's a very good rebounder. She's very smart. Her IQ is elite. And Steph Curry's her godfather. So she's just going to become even better shooter. And she's tall as fuck. She's like 6'5" or 6'6". So I think defensively she's the best big in the draft, and she's definitely the best shooting big in the draft. So the Sparks, they just came up getting her at second. I don't think they could go wrong with if they got Cardoso or if they got Angel Reese second. I feel like it wouldn't be too much of a difference. But getting Cameron Brink is just as good. Also, she's another person where you're bringing more light to the WNBA, because I believe Cameron is a model. I believe she does other stuff outside of basketball. So you're bringing in more eyes to the WNBA with her as well. And I think her in LA, again, I keep saying this analogy, but it's true for a lot of these situations. It's a match made in heaven, because she gives off LA girl vibe. She's got the look. She's already a model. Who knows if she wants to get into acting or anything like that. Just bringing more eyes to the Sparks, bringing more eyes to the WNBA, and just pushing the WNBA forward more than it already is, because that's the point that the WNBA is at right now. They need to move forward, and I think that would be the best thing for them, is getting Cam or Angel Reese or Cardoso. But I think for more of a popularity standpoint, I'd say Cam or Angel Reese would probably be the better options there. But out of those 3 bigs, it doesn't really matter. I feel like you're good in any situation. But pairing her up with Onyeka and her sister, I believe both of them play for LA now. Yeah, pairing her up with the sister, with the twins, again, you're putting yourself in position to win, because that will probably be the best defensive front court in the WNBA, period, at that point, because you would have the Onyeka sisters, and then you would have Cameron Brink at the 5. Nobody's scoring down low. Nobody's getting a bucket down low on that team. It's just not happening. Now, the issue might be on the offensive end, but you still have Cam out there stretching the floor with the ability to post up and rim run. So I think Cam in LA would be a great fit. But this is the one that I'm most excited about because of the situation. The Indiana Fever had the first pick, which means they will be picking Caitlyn Clark, who has been playing amazing for the last 2 or 3 seasons, and potentially could be the greatest of all time if she continues to play this way in the WNBA. Caitlyn Clark, I believe she has the most 40-point games of any college basketball player, or something crazy like that. I think she had the most triple doubles or something of any college player. Like, she's just an amazing basketball player, and her going to the Fever to pair up with Aaliyah Boston is insanity. And they also have Lexi Hull as well, who's a great shooter and just a solid player. You Caitlyn Clark was dominating with basically quote unquote nobodies on her team. Iowa should, without Caitlyn Clark, I don't even think they would be ranked without Caitlyn Clark. She's taken them to national championship games. And, just nationally being well known. Without Caitlyn Clark, you replace Caitlyn Clark with almost anybody else that isn't one of these 12 girls that I've been talking about. It's just not the same team. It's just not the same team. They're probably not even ranked. Nobody's going to be talking about this team. Caitlyn Clark elevated this team to heights that they probably never expected to. And I think she's going to do the same thing, not just for the Fever, but for the WNBA, because she's exciting to watch. She's very reminiscent of Steph Curry, but not early Steph Curry, because early Steph Curry was just like an average guy. Steph Curry when he hit his stride in like 2015, 2016. She's very reminiscent of that. And they drafted Aaliyah Boston last year, who I liken to Tim Duncan. Her play style, just how she plays and who she is, reminds me a lot of Tim Duncan. I relate the WNBA players to NBA players just so people who don't know them understand their play style a little bit more. I'm not saying she is Tim Duncan. I'm just relating her game and play style to him. But it's drafting her and then drafting Caitlyn Clark this year is like drafting Tim Duncan and drafting Steph Curry in his prime in the following year. And that's insanity. And Lexi Hall, that's like having like JJ Redick or Kyle Korver on the team as well. So Indiana is going to go from, obviously, Caitlyn probably going to have a little bit of growing pains. Aaliyah had some growing pains as well. So I assume she wins Rookie of the Year. I don't know if they're going to be like a playoff team off the bat, but within the next 2 or 3 years, they're probably going to be competing for championships. Like, not just in it, like legitimately in the finals with just those two. Because, again, that's like putting prime Tim Duncan and prime Steph Curry on the same team, and they're young and hungry, along with Lexi Hall being there. Obviously, they need to fix that supporting cast a little bit because those three can't win by themselves. You do need a better supporting cast. I think they need to switch the coaching staff out too, but that can be done in the off season or two. You know what I mean? So I think Indiana has potential to be a dynasty with Caitlyn Clark and Aaliyah Boston and Lexi Hall running the show. Because those two really, but just Lexi is just sprinkles on the cake. Lexi is just extra gravy on top of your food. Like, she's just the extra. Because Caitlyn Clark and Aaliyah Boston are future Hall of Famers, basically. And not that Cameron Brink or Paige Bueckers or Angel Reese or Cardoso or any of them aren't. They probably are too. But those two are generational talents. And you're putting them on the same team. They both want to win. They were, which is funny, they were rivals previously. So it's a match made in heaven. But yeah, I'm really excited to watch Indiana. I'm probably going to like get WNBA League Pass or something to watch their games because that's going to be exciting to watch. And I think you should do the same thing. All these ladies coming in are just going to help to bring the WNBA into new heights. And I think this is just what the WNBA needed. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. Only thing is, really quick before, because my camera's about to turn off, I thought Haley Van Lith was coming out this year, but she wasn't listed in the mock draft. That was a little confusing. If Haley was coming out, I'd say she'd probably go within the top 7. I don't know what team exactly she would go to, but she's definitely going in the top 7 for sure, basically based on team need. But Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Let me know some other players. Give me some info on some other players that'll probably be impactful that I didn't mention. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, make sure you ding that notification bell so you know every time I drop a video. And most of all, YouTube, I love you guys. Peace out. I did it. I did it before the camera turned off. Let's go.
It's the 3 on PLAX TV.